They need to have a truck that goes around like an ice cream truck, but it has margaritas.
But for a second, you're like, was this Anne Frank's maxi pad? What is this?
I apologize in advance.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us yet again. Scott, what do we got going on?
We'll do a little monthly recap. We have a
yeah.
new pope elected about a month ago.
Yes.
And the amount of white smoke billowing out of the chimney made me think we elected Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
But I love this pope. Home slices
American.
from Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes. I love the fact that he's from Chicago because you know there's going to be a shit ton of guns in the Vatican now. Even like Ted Nugent will visit, no question.
Yeah, Uncle Ted's definitely going to show up with Kid Rock and, Madonna.
Yes. Well, I guess he needs to ride around. This Pope needs to ride around in the Pope Mobile with everything fucking hanging down, all the windows down, everything. 2 gold-plated Glocks on both sides of his hips.
Yeah, in the Pope Mobile. Yeah.
Yep. AK-47 around his shoulder. Then see if anybody wants to take a shot at him then, like they did in the 80s.
Yeah.
I would love it. Like, have him do that hand gesture where he crosses his chest.
Yeah.
And then when the crowd's getting all teary-eyed, then he can throw some Chi-Town gang signs. Bam. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, we just came off a Mother's Day about a month ago. What'd you get your mom for Mother's Day, Coop?
Actually, didn't get her anything.
Yes. Yes. I didn't ask to be born, bitch.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't ask for all this.
I wanted to get my mom a red velvet cake, shred it down the middle with a note saying, "Sorry I did this to your vagina."
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Something sentimental.
Yeah. Today, we're going to be starting a short little series on the Zodiac to kind of culminate our unsolved cases series.
Ooh, this is going to be creepy.
Yeah, for sure. Faux show. Apologize in advance. We might mispronounce some of the names in this. We did find some discrepancies on the pronunciations. Some people pronounced it one way, some another, so don't add us. We don't care anyway.
Yes.
So we're going to get right into it here. The Zodiac is a pseudonym of an unidentified serial killer who killed 5 victims that we know of. Probably a lot more. That's another thing, too. This first episode here is going to be just sort of the Zodiac murders.
The facts.
And then the next one, which you really are going to want to check out, is going to be the good stuff. The conspiracies, the ins and outs of everything, all that.
Because there's so many.
There are a ton, yeah. This case has arguably been described as the most famous unsolved murder in American history.
And hold on, this is one of your favorite cases, right?
Yeah, this is one that I've followed and sort of read about for quite a long time. Yeah, it's an interesting one for me.
If you have the Zodiac symbol tattooed on your taint, that means you're kind of connected.
Yeah,
come
on.
It means something to you.
Right?
Yes.
So the Zodiac, he was active in San Francisco during the 60s and some of the 70s. His known attacks and murders took place in Benicia, Vallejo, and Napa County, and San Francisco. So a lot of area was covered, a lot of different police departments involved. We will get into why that was somewhat of an issue here a little bit later on. First, though, we're going to jump right into some of the murders. The first recorded ones that are retroactively attributed to the Zodiac happened at Lake Herman. It was the shooting of a high school student named Betty Lou Jensen and David Arthur. Betty was a student at Vallejo High School, and Arthur was a student at Hogan High School.
Brother. They need to do it like that, like Hulk Hogan every time.
Arthur picked Betty up, and the couple visited one of Betty's friends sometime around 9 p.m. They drove to the outskirts of Vallejo and parked at a lover's lane on Lake Herman. A passing motorist noticed the couple between 10:15 and 10:30, and they were spotted again at 11 o'clock.
You ever been parking with a date, Cooper?
Yeah, sure.
taking somebody out. And,
yeah.
oh, yeah. I've always wanted to pick up my prom date from her house in a big old rusty van, spray paint on the side of it like free orgasms, air quote it,
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Right on the side. Then pull out of her driveway, park right in front of their parents' house, and start making the van just bop up and down a little bit like that. And then roll the window down and throw 3 condoms out full of, like, let's say mayonnaise or something like that. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Hell
Take her
yeah.
to the dance and then bring her home late enough so her parents are waiting up. And then say loud enough on the front porch for her parents to hear, your father is going to be an amazing grandfather. Amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
It'd probably backfire when her dad tells me, nice try with the condoms joke. I knew it was mayo. Do you honestly think I don't know what Hellman's taste like? I'm like, oh, fuck. That'd be
Damn.
so nasty.
And then between 10 and 11, Arthur and Betty were attacked. Police determined that their assailant parked his vehicle about 10 feet along the passenger side of the car. He fired several shots from his car and walked around to the driver's side. None of the shots originally that he took hit Arthur or Betty. This guy was as bad as Oswald.
Fucking Oswald, yes.
Yeah. As Arthur was exiting the car, the killer shot him in the head, and the assailant chased Betty as she fled and fired 6 shots into her back. Police theorized that the attack took, up to 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, he was a shitty-ass shot.
How many bullets can you hold in a gun like that?
I'm not sure exactly which kind of gun this was. It might have been a 22 handgun. So I would say 10 or 12.
Okay, he was running out. Running out of bullets after a while.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. So at this point, Betty was dead. Arthur was still breathing, but would later die in the hospital. And there were no witnesses and no usable tire or footprints. And the only motive police came up with was a madman wanting to kill. Despite an intensive investigation in the following months, no suspects emerged in that particular killing. The reason they attributed this killing retroactively to the Zodiac is because of the weapon that was used. It was similar to the weapons that were used in these other killings that we're going to talk about here. And just sort of the whole MO. He pulls up to people in cars several times, we'll see here.
Yeah, and he, confessed after he did the next killing. Didn't he say, I killed those little darlings last year or something like that?
Yeah, someone will confess to a murder that fits this description later on here. Yes, yep.
My favorite thing is I'm watching all these investigative shows about the Zodiac, and they bring these awesome, top-notch detectives from now, like 2025.
Yeah.
And they go out to the crime scene 50 fucking years ago. Like, why are you out at the crime scene? Are you going to find something in a tree?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. There's a bullet with his name initialed on it. We cracked the case.
Yeah.
I love it when they go to these fucking crime scenes that are already redone up and everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. So the next murders, they took place in Blue Rock Springs. This one involved Darlene Farron and Michael Madshow. They were shot shortly after midnight on July 4th. Farron was very popular in Vallejo. She was a waitress at a local restaurant there, which is where she met Michael.
Yeah, she worked at the IHOP and was known to flirt with every single customer, like big time flirt with every single customer.
Yeah.
And back then, in those days, flirting was like wearing meth-scented perfume at your local Denny's today. Completely irresistible, these fucking hillbillies.
It was an aphrodisiac.
You know she made a killing on tips.
Yeah.
She probably had a shirt with an arrow pointed to her crotch saying, save room for dessert.
So they went on a date that night, despite the fact that Farron was actually married.
Oh,
So,
shit.
yeah, so she was also married. There's a whole conspiracy about this. We'll get into this more in the next episode. Yeah, Farron was married. Right after leaving the house, the couple noticed that they were being followed by a man in a light-colored car. Farron drove out of Vallejo in the direction of Lake Herman, which was pretty close to where the first murder had actually happened. Around midnight, she turned her car into an empty parking lot on Blue Rock Springs Park, and this was another Lover's Lane type location, and it was only 2 miles from the first couple murdered.
Oof.
Yeah. So after parking, another car pulled up into the lot and parked near them with his headlights off and then just kind of sat there, which is weird.
Creepy.
You see a lone guy pull up, turn off the lights, and just kind of sit there, probably going to town on himself.
Yes.
So Michael asked Darlene who the driver was, and Farron was like, oh, don't worry about it. And this sort of has led to a thought that she knew who the driver was, because again, she's married. So this could have been like her husband or something. You know?
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into that though. There's not enough time. We'll see how that played out. A few moments later, the stranger abruptly started his vehicle and just drove away, like really fast. He just tore out of the parking lot.
Told him not to worry. Every time I date a married woman and she tells me not to worry, that's a clear red flag that gonorrhea is around the corner for me. I'm going to be waiting 15 minutes at my local fucking pharmacy.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
After speeding away, about 5 minutes later, the stranger returned and parked a few feet from the side of the car and got out. He shined his flashlight into the car as he approached. The couple, assuming that he was a cop, rolled down their windows, and then without speaking, the stranger just shot into the car.
Oof.
One bullet hit Madshow, and...
That's a nightmare of a last name.
It is. It hit him in the arm, and the other hit Farron in the neck. Again, this guy can't really fucking shoot.
At all.
So he tried to exit the car, but the door handle was missing or broken. That was another thing. What was the other time there was a door? Oh, it was with Ted Bundy with what's-her-face.
With Blondie, yeah.
She couldn't get out. These fucking guys keep disabling the car handles. Listen to our Ted Bundy episode. It's our first one.
Classic.
So at this point, the assailant had returned to his car, opened the door, and he was sort of like rummaging around in the car, and they couldn't really tell what he was doing. But he did return and shot each of them 2 more times, at which point he went to his car again and drove away.
What a horrible shot.
Yeah.
This has Oswald all over it, like you just said.
Yeah.
I wonder when Farron's husband found out, was he relieved for multiple reasons? Like, 1, he wasn't the killer, and 2, that bitch won't be cheating again. Kind of sounds like a Carrie Underwood song.
Yeah, or Taylor Swift, yeah.
Heck yes. These fucking hillbillies. Remember when that song came out, Next Time He Cheats by Carrie Underwood?
Yeah.
All these uptight Copenhagen chewing hillbilly chicks looking for revenge because they've been wronged by their man. Well, I've got news for you, ladies. There's a reason they're cheating. After you get sick of being with a woman who will spit your cum out but swallow their chew, it gets fucking old real quick. I loved all these. Even the video, I'm like, these bitches are trashy as fuck.
Yeah. So the perpetrator left behind no clues that were easily traceable, at least back in this time in history. Forensics just, weren't what they are now. It was easy to get away with stuff almost back in the 60s and, even the 70s and 80s.
There were no cameras anywhere. There was
No.
nothing. Even eyewitness reports. We're going to say at the end of this episode, this eyewitness report. It's like, you're so fucking off. It's not right.
Yeah. So, 3 teens drove into the parking lot shortly after the attack and saw the wounded couple, and then they left because, again, remember, this is the 60s. Like, they didn't have cell phones to call the cops, so they left and went to find help. Police arrived about an hour later, around 12:20. 20 minutes after that, Farron was pronounced dead. She might have been dead the whole time. I don't know. So Michael, though, actually survived the attack, which is crazy because he got shot in the fucking head.
Yeah.
So he survived the attack, and he was actually able to give police a description. And this description would go on to match other eyewitness descriptions of the Zodiac. So, yeah. At 12:40, police received a phone call from a payphone. So this is about 20 minutes after Farron's been pronounced dead. The cops receive a phone call from a payphone, which was said to only be 2 blocks from the Vallejo police station. And the man on the other line stated this: I want to report a murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to the public park, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
Creepy.
So, yeah.
You almost said it like in that recorder that Kevin McAllister had in Home Alone 2.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like, I'd like to book a room. That was crazy.
That was. So, Serial killers commonly pause to reflect on their actions. Authors Michael Kelleher, David Van Nuys speculated that the 7 months between the attacks on Lake Herman Road and at the Blue Rock Springs could have been a sort of cooling off period for the Zodiac.
Oh.
So the next murders are again going to be a couple, and this occurred at Lake Berryessa, and this was on September 27th, 1969. The murders started in the mid-60s, and they would continue on into the early 70s. 2 college students, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, were picnicking at Lake Berryessa on a small island connected to the mainland by a sandbar, and Shepard noticed a man watching them. So he was sort of just a creepy fucking guy watching them from behind the trees. And when he emerged, he put on a black executioner's type hood. This is sort of the famous picture you may have seen of like the Zodiac with the hood and the crosshairs and all that. And he also wore a bib with the Zodiac symbol and the famous crosshairs, the circle with looks like a bullseye. He came at them and he did brandish a gun, which Hartnell believed to be a .45. The Zodiac said he had just escaped from jail after killing a guard and needed their car and money to travel to Mexico. So that's a pretty big thing. You make this whole outfit and just be like, hey, I need some money to Mexico.
Yeah, let me put all this dumbass shit on.
Right. Before tying up Shepard, the Zodiac made Shepard bind Hartnell's hands with pre-cut links of plastic clothesline, and he tightened her bonds because obviously Shepard tied it too loose. And at this point, they believed they were just being robbed. So,
yeah.
They just thought it was just going to be a robbery. The Zodiac, though, did draw a knife and just out of nowhere sort of started stabbing the shit out of both of them. Hartnell suffered 6 stab wounds and Shepard had 10.
Man.
That's more than just, it's personal at that point almost, The Zodiac then hiked 500 yards to Knoxville Road, leaving several footprints for investigators to study. The killer drew the Zodiac symbol on Hartnell's car door with a black felt tip pen, and he also wrote beneath that some dates. So he wrote Vallejo, December 20th, 1968, but he just wrote 12/20/68, and then he also wrote 7/4/69, and then September 27th, 69, 6:30 by knife. So he was basically writing out the murders that he had done. He did the first couple, and then the second one, and then this third one. So he's just taking credit for his murders.
He walked 500 yards. That's 5 football lengths.
Yeah, he was.
That's one
long ways.
hell of a hike. Screw that.
Yeah. So upon hearing the victim screaming, fisherman and his son did try to help. Hartnell untied Shepard's rope with his teeth, and then she freed him. So they're both stabbed, remember.
Bleeding.
They're bleeding out, yeah. So 2 park rangers arrived and tended to the couple's wounds until an ambulance arrived. Napa County deputies Dave Collins and Ray Land responded to the report of the attack. And Shepard was conscious and gave a detailed description of their attacker. So he's got 6 stab wounds in him, but he's still giving them a description. That's pretty wild. So Shepard and Hartnell were both taken to a hospital in Napa. Shepard actually lapsed into a coma, and she never regained consciousness and unfortunately died 2 days later. But Hartnell survived, and he told the cops and the press and everybody, what he had seen. So earlier that day, a suspicious man had been seen around Lake Berryessa by several people. A dentist and his son saw a heavyset man looking at them from a distance before he had hurried off. Yeah.
He probably heard the music from the ice cream truck and wasn't going to miss out on this golden opportunity.
Hell yeah.
Man. You know how freaky you would be? You're just thinking you're being robbed and somebody goes fucking O.J. Simpson on you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They need to have a truck that goes around like an ice cream truck, but it has margaritas or something.
Oh, that'd be genius.
Or in like tacos for like adults.
Heck yes. Everybody leaving their job, running out on the road.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So a few hours before he attacked Shepard and Hartnell, a group of 3 women noticed a strange man as they were sunbathing at Lake Berryessa. Since they had potentially seen the Zodiac without the hood, the women worked with the Napa Valley Register photographer to help create another composite sketch of the Zodiac. and the sketch was shown to other potential witnesses. The witnesses described him as being roughly 6 feet tall and weighing 200 pounds.
That's Rosie O'Donnell, middle of 7th grade.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's the reason they invented the lunch punch card, because she kept trying to change her identity to get more food. Nice try, Rosie. Shaving your mustache doesn't make us think you're somebody else. Besides, nobody else smells like burnt dog shit on a mayonnaise sandwich. End of the line, lady.
Yeah.
What a mess.
She probably was a big 7th grader.
Yes, she probably had like 5 lunch cards. This is not nice to talk about such a heartless bitch that got kicked out of Ireland. They wanted her gone. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The previous description that was given by the other survivors, it did match the one that Shepard and Hartnell gave. And Robert Graysmith, also, who is an author and was a comic writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, so he's a well-known character in this whole case. He drew a sketch of the Zodiac's costume after Hartnell described it to him.
Yeah, this Robert Graysmith, he never let up.
Yeah,
His whole life.
He was pretty persistent. Like, if you've ever seen the Zodiac movie, he's in it. He's kind of the main character, and he never let up.
Ever.
Yeah. So at this point, the Zodiac drove 27 miles from the crime scene to a car wash, which was in downtown Napa, and he used a payphone to call the Napa County Sheriff's Department at 7:40 p.m. He told the dispatcher he wanted to report a murder. No, a double murder, and confessed to the crime. He did not hang up the phone, and once again, this call was made pretty close, only a couple of blocks from the sheriff's office. Detectives were able to lift a palm print from the phone, but they were never able to match it to anybody.
What's weird is this was only 2 blocks from the IHOP that Farron worked at.
Yes, exactly.
And it was the 2 blocks in the other direction from one of the main suspects to this day where he lived. So that's beyond coincidence.
It is very, if it's a coincidence, it's the biggest coincidence ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got 2 blocks police station, 2 blocks the Napa downtown car wash.
Yep.
Yep. 2 blocks IHOP. And also, he left the phone dangling because he said somebody was watching him the whole time. The Zodiac even mentioned it in one of his things. He said, you should have an eyewitness. But whoever's watching never even came forward.
Huh. Yeah. The last confirmed, or they think confirmed, murder. Man, we're going to get into some crazy conspiracies because I got a couple on this. On the cab drivers and all this. But this final one happened in Presidio Heights, and it happened around 9:40 p.m. on October 11th. Presidio Heights is a pretty nice neighborhood in the downtown area of San Francisco. The Zodiac hailed a cab, which was driven by a doctoral student named Paul Stein. Poor bastard. He just graduated or was studying to become a doctor. He's just driving a cab to pay the bills. So the killer gave a destination in Presidio Heights. When the taxi arrived at Washington and Maple Street, the killer asked to be driven to another block. At Washington and Cherry, around 9:55, the Zodiac shot Stein in the head with a handgun, took his wallet and car keys. And you'll notice that this is completely different from the other murders. You know, the other 3 were all couples. This is a cab driver, you know, and the other ones happened at lovers' lanes or like kind of out, you know, at a lake where there's not a whole lot of people around necessarily. This happened right in a neighborhood, like a wealthy neighborhood.
In the past, he skipped over the father and son fishing. He skipped over the 3 hot chicks sunbathing. Yeah. Skipped over all that. So this is just totally weird that he did this.
Yes, absolutely. So 3 young teens witnessed the crime from a house directly across the street from Stein's cab. The Zodiac's face was clearly visible by streetlight. The teens watched as the Zodiac wiped down the vehicle, and he was actually rifling through Stein's clothes, which we'll see why in a little bit. And he left behind 2 partial fingerprints from his right hand. And while the Zodiac was tending to the cab, the kids called the San Francisco Police Department. They described the criminal as a husky white man in a black jacket. And the fucking dispatcher, the dispatcher goes on the radio and says, hey, there's a black suspect out there running around.
Yeah. You know, it was one of those racist dispatchers that fills in the blanks with their own stereotypical views.
Yeah.
Like, man shoots cab driver in the back of head. That's a black male, white jacket. So if it was a man that stabs neighbor's cat, Chinese male, big smile. All right. Or a husband beating his wife on the front lawn. Italian male,
Yeah.
Adidas sport coat, justified.
Yeah, that's how they did it back then. They just, whatever crime occured, they just assigned a race to it.
Yup. There it is. Somebody shits on your front porch. I'm not going to say what race it is, but I want to so bad.
So 2 minutes after the dispatch call went out to the San Francisco Police Department, 2 nearby patrol officers responded to the radio dispatch, and they actually encountered a white man in dark clothes walking north towards the Presidio Army base. They pulled alongside the man and asked if he had seen anything suspicious. The man confirmed he had seen someone waving a gun and heading east, so the officers just took off. They're like, oh, okay. This was Zodiac.
Yeah.
These 2 officers saw the Zodiac probably. So the Zodiac later claimed he was the witness that spoke to the 2 officers when police arrived at Paul Stein's scene, and the police department canvassed the area, including the Presidio, and the Zodiac had likely fled the area in a car by then, though. Once the dispatch had been corrected and it was like, oh, it's not a black guy, it's a white guy, those 2 cops hopefully got fired or written up or something.
Or that dispatcher guy just got fucking backhanded in the next week.
Right. So the police initially assumed the murder was a result of a robbery gone bad because, again, this didn't fit the MO of the Zodiac at all. However, the Zodiac mailed a piece of Paul Stein's shirt, a bloody piece. It had blood on it.
Oof.
to the San Francisco Chronicle on October 13th. And obviously he took credit for it. He enclosed a letter where he boasted about the murder and claimed to have watched San Francisco Police Department search for him, which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, fucking idiots.
His shirt was weird. It looked like a concentration camp shirt, and it was all bloodied.
It does.
So for a second, you're like, was this Anne Frank's maxi pad? What is this?
Oh, jeez.
That's bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good, though. So the Zodiac also, at this point in this letter, also threatened to shoot out a tire of a school bus and kill the children as they exited. That caused a lot of concern, obviously.
Yeah, but back in the day, people didn't give a shit about their kids. That's the thing. This fell on deaf ears for the little Zodiac, because that's why the people had so many kids, to make sure no matter how many ran away or whatever happened to them, they would still have enough to do all the chores. So threatening a school bus full of kids, that just meant another 9 more months of wearing a fucking condom.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like what happened with the episode we did a little while ago, the alphabet killer. Like, they're sending their kids out to the store and they're just getting murdered.
Yeah. And then they wait a long time.
Yeah, before they start. Yeah, like hours.
Yeah, it's been 9 hours.
Where the hell is she?
Yeah, somebody's got to mow this fucking yard, I guess. So it wasn't a threat to parents back then if you threatened that kind of shit. They would send their kids to creepy family members' homes all the time. And if the kids complained to their uncle that diddled them in the mouth, the only thing the parents would say is, next time keep your mouth closed when you're fucking sleeping.
Yeah.
They're horrible. That's where the phrase "say uncle" came from. It preceded sodomy. What a mess.
So as of now, the Zodiac killings span 3 counties. This has caused sort of a hardship on the police to coordinate with the different departments. This was before email, text, and even like fax machines. And this was a major issue for them in connecting the killings, as well as obtaining forensic evidence between the departments that may have been reluctant to give up evidence that would aid a different department in catching the Zodiac.
Wouldn't that suck if the state of California had a prize for whatever police department catches a killer, they get a pizza party / kegger at Chuck E. Cheese's. And that's why others did not want to help out with
like,
each
we're
other.
We're going to get that fucking pizza party.
Fuck yeah, I want this kegger, man. Yes.
Yeah. So that is all of the definite murders of the Zodiac, that this probably all done by the same person just because he took credit for them. Some of them are similar. We're going to talk a little bit now about the detectives, the San Francisco Police Department detectives that were assigned to this case for a long time. Bill Armstrong and David Toshi were assigned the case in San Francisco. Toshi ended up working on the case mostly by himself and filed 8 filing cabinets full of potential suspects. That's a lot of suspects.
That's a lot.
Yeah. In 1976, he told the Associated Press that these Zodiac letters were a, quote, ego game, and that he believed the killer lived in San Francisco. He also went on to say, quote, he's a weekend killer. Why can't he get away Monday through Thursday? Does his job keep him close to home? Toshi speculated he had a menial job, as well as thought that he was able to blend in with crowds and stuff. So, just sort of like an average Joe. He thought that he was an intelligent guy, but also he misspelled words a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
They need to flush this guy. I wish the news would have just exploited this misspelling with the hopes that it would flush him out and expose him, just to piss him off enough. Imagine turning on the news and hearing Walter Cronkite go, "We have a child killing people." It has to be a kid, most likely with a learning disability too. Because look how many words he spelled wrong. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
We brought in some second graders to show how easy these words are to spell. We just found these kids alone in the parking lot because, like I said before, parents don't give a shit about their kids.
Yeah.
Yes. We also cracked the codes and the ciphers. The first one says, "I'm only killing because my uncle says I'm too old to suck his dick anymore."
Oh, jeez.
Wouldn't that be fucking awesome? And the second one says, "I shit my pants on purpose to get the horrible smell of Sarah's meatloaf out of my nose."
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great.
That's a hard one.
No, but just piss this guy, this Zodiac guy who thinks he's so smart and so much better. Just fucking piss him off and have him just, boom, he'll make a mistake.
Some thoughts on the misspellings are because handwriting experts use certain letters and the way they're written to examine handwriting. And some thoughts are that some of the stuff he misspelled was on purpose. And it also made, as we'll see here in a minute, his ciphers harder to decipher.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was hard to find patterns because everything was fucking misspelled. So after working the Zodiac case for 7 years, Toshi started writing anonymous letters praising his own investigation work. So,
I love that.
So he just got so pissed off. He's like, I'm going to write them and tell them how good I'm doing. He sent these to the San Francisco Chronicle columnist Armistead Maupin, and 2 years later, in 1978, Toshi was removed from the case and actually demoted. He expressed regret for the hoax in the same year, and also the San Francisco Chronicle also received a Zodiac letter, and they sort of investigated whether Toshi had wrote it. After that, they concluded that he just wrote the one praising himself.
What I want to read, how did he praise himself? I want to know everything he said.
I'm not exactly sure.
Toshi guy is so fucking smart, and I don't know how he gets around town with his huge ass dick getting in the way. How did he brag himself up?
I don't know, but yeah.
Yes.
That would be fun to read.
Oh my goodness, yes. No, David Toshi, a lot of people don't know this, he was the inspiration behind Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
The same nickname Jada Pinkett Smith's doctor gave her, Taint. Yeah, she's got a full head of hair growing in the wrong spot. Disney is doing a remake of Rapunzel between her thighs, if you know what I mean. No, but it's weird that he was the inspiration behind Dirty Harry, because this David Toshi looks stupid as fuck.
Yeah, he did. I mean, maybe that's like how players dressed in the 70s, but he looked goofy.
Yes, look it up. You give him Bob Ross's afro, load it with a severe case of mange, put on an oversized bow tie. This is a fucking big ass bow tie.
It's a big. It is. It's a big one.
It's a driving hazard. For real. It gets in the fucking way. Slap on a child molesting short sleeve dress shirt, and then a pair of khakis so tight even when he tried tucking it, because that's what people do with oversized bow ties. You could still make out the veins in his dick between his ass cheeks. That's how fucking tight the pants were. That's David Toshi.
Yeah, that's him.
Him being the inspiration behind Dirty Harry is like Al Roker being the inspiration behind Apollo Creed. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, right.
I ran into Al Roker.
You did?
I was at Madison Square Garden gonna see, who was it? It was Radiohead.
Okay.
Yeah. I was on it was Paul McCartney. That's what it was. It was Paul McCartney. I was on my way to the seats, and I just saw this little blurb come right in front of me. I was just about to reach out to grab whatever's in front of me. It was Al Roker.
Oh,
shit.
Oh
my goodness.
That's
was
awesome.
Crazy. If I was Al Roker, because everybody knows his catchphrase on his show, I would have a tattoo below my belly button with an arrow pointing down saying, "Here's what's going on in your mother's neck of the woods." Something cool like that.
Yeah.
These people don't exploit their
Their celebrity.
Yeah, they're celebrity. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh, L. Rooker's on the Diddy tapes.
He is.
Oh, I know, but that'd be fucking great, wouldn't it?
Yes. That
Oh,
would be.
that'd be so cool. Yes.
So now we're going to get into a little bit of the letters and the ciphers that the Zodiac sent out to the police departments and the various newspapers. On August 1st of 1969, the Vallejo Times and the San Francisco Chronicle and the San Francisco Examiner, all three received letters by someone taking credit for the attacks in Vallejo. The three letters were nearly identical and began with, quote, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the 4th of July. The three letters were rife with misspellings and presented the first definitive link between the 2 separate attacks that occurred there in Vallejo.
I didn't know any of this stuff, so this is like, whoa.
Yeah, enclosed in all 3 letters was a different cryptogram. They combined to form a 408-symbol cipher. The writer claimed, quote, in this cipher is my identity. He demanded that the codes be printed on each newspaper's front page, and if they were not, he threatened to cruise around all weekend, killing lone people in the night, and then move on to kill again until I end up with 12 people over the weekend. So, whatever, dude.
Wow.
The Chronicle actually did publish the cryptogram inside the August 2nd edition. In the accompanying article, the Vallejo police chief, Jack Stilt, said, we're not satisfied that the letter was written by the murderer. He requested that the killer send more facts to prove his identity, which is kind of smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, prove it, motherfucker.
Yes.
I like it when they kind of, like this guy from the San Francisco Chronicle, the Paul
Avery.
I can never remember his name. I always get him and Paul Stein confused. They would kind of fuck with the Zodiac a little bit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on August 4th, the Examiner received a letter with the salutation, quote, Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking, and this letter marked the debut of the Zodiac persona. The first letters there, he didn't use the word Zodiac. It was just basically a letter from a guy taking credit for these murders. So this was when the Zodiac persona came from and gave himself this nickname. On October 8th, the Zodiac mailed a card with a 340-character cryptogram to the Chronicle. He asked for his code to be printed on the front page. It remained unsolved for 51 years.
Wow.
Yeah. One cryptologist ranked the Zodiac's unsolved cipher second only to the Voynich manuscript, which is a 240-page manuscript handwritten in an unknown script, referred to the Voynich carbon dating, places it as early as the 15th century, and the origin, author, and purpose of the manuscript, this particular manuscript, is still unknown and debated to this day. Kind of crazy.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, both of them are. So this was designated as Z340. It was eventually deciphered by an international team of private citizens in December of 2020. Using a program, the team ran 650,000 possible solutions for the cipher until the program came up with the best possible encryption key. The decoded message provided no clues to the Zodiac's identity, and the decoded cipher included the usual misspellings, and I'm going to read what they deciphered. It said, quote, I hope you are having lots of fan. I'm going to go ahead and use all the misspellings.
Yes.
I hope you having lots of fan and trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which Brango up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise. All the soother because now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing when they reach Paradise. So they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in Paradise death.
You sound like Stephen Hawking. It will work for me. I am not afraid of. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. So they decoded this cryptograph, and it was full of misspellings, as we see here. And yeah, I mean, it gives no clues as to who the Zodiac might have been. So the following day, the Zodiac mailed a 7-page letter to the Chronicle. In his postscript, he claimed he was stopped and questioned by policemen 3 minutes after he shot Stein. Again, sort of confessing to another murder. This was something that was not common knowledge and would have likely only been known to the authorities and the killer himself. Yeah, the police didn't want to put that information out there that they stopped someone and he was probably the killer, and then they just let him go.
Yeah.
And the Zodiac boasted that the police would never catch him because he was too clever for them.
That's like playing football catch with O.J. Simpson the night of the fucking murder in front of Nicole's house. Like, oh, we got to get going. You need to wash some of that blood off your hands, O.J.
Right.
No, they should have put the Zodiac sign in the wheel well of the handicap signs all through San Francisco and put it in the paper too, saying this is the new parking spot for people that aren't disabled, just fucking stupid. The media missed out on a great opportunity, Coop, to do this, to just fuck with this narcissist on a continuous basis, because he's going to all these papers. He's making all these phone calls.
Yeah.
He wants this notoriety.
Oh, he does. And if you would have just made fun of him, like call him a dumb shit, he'd get so mad.
Heck yes. Have somebody, it's going to sound bad, have somebody with like a horrible speech impediment. I mean, it just sounds horrible. Read his ciphers and go, this is the most accurate we can think his stupid ass voice sounds like. And
Yeah.
I hope you're having fun. I would love that.
That would be cool. So 1 year after the Lake Herman murders, on December 20th, the Zodiac mailed a letter to Melvin Belli. Belli was a popular radio host in the San Francisco area, and in 1969, a mental patient called into Belli's radio show, AM San Francisco, claiming to be the Zodiac. On the phone call, this mental patient said, "Please help me, I'm drowning. I cannot remain in control for much longer."
That's what Jack said to Rose in Titanic before he died. There was clearly enough room on that piece of wood for the both of them.
Yeah, I would have shoved that bitch right off that fucking door.
Fuck yes.
Fuck her.
Yes. Yank that necklace that everybody wants so bad.
And then you're rich.
Yep. Done.
He's poor. She's rich. She's dead. You're a millionaire. You can draw all the naked bitches you want.
And he's a raggedy old piece of shit. You know he had like syphilis or something bad. So that old bitch at the end of the movie, she had to live with that forever.
Yeah. I mean, he was Irish. He was poor. You know he had something.
Jack broke my heart and gave me a case of the bumpy crotch. I guess.
Yes.
You know that. No lie. The first time I saw the movie, I heard a guy in the movie theater in the front row yell, "Scooch over, bitch!" Everybody's getting aggravated. Like, there's so much room. You can save this guy.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what happens. I know Leo doesn't get on the board or the door or whatever because she's like.
Yeah, I mean,
the
they
whole
have
thing
millions
to
of
herself.
memes and stuff like that. They have one meme where she's laying on the big chunk of wood, and then she's got a fridge on the other side of the wood, and it was just a shit ton of stuff on that wood.
Yeah.
No, it was cool. They did this part in the movie because Kate Winslet was in her prime at the time.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And she's laying on this couch naked, and Leonardo DiCaprio's kind of sketching her and drawing her.
Yeah.
Well, they did a real sketch of her naked, and guess who did the sketch?
Who?
The director, James Cameron.
Oh, that makes.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard he was kind of a creep.
Yeah, kind of
little
weird.
bit.
Yes.
I don't know, but all right.
Well, he folded it up to give it back to her, and then later that night when he gave it back to her, it wouldn't open up again. It was a little sticky, so I'm like, oh, okay, James. We know what you're doing. Sick bastard.
So for the remainder of 1970, the Zodiac continued to communicate with authorities and the press by mail. In a letter that was postmarked April 20th, he wrote, "My name is blank," and it was followed by a 13-character cipher.
You know what has 13 characters, Cooper?
Oh, boy.
Keith Morrison. Keith, I killed Matthew Perry Morrison. Hope there's more, because I was looking at this like, who has 13 characters in the name? Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Robert Redford. Definite. This guy's too fucking cool. Clint Eastwood. There's 13 in his. That guy's cool.
Yeah, he's probably okay.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I still can't get over her like hooking up with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, what was that?
You don't exchange fluids with Sling Blade. Fucking ever. You don't do that.
Get some of them French fried potatoes.
That's so great. Well, I guess and then she like went on. What was Brad Pitt thinking?
Yeah.
I'm not taking Sling Blade's fucking slappy seconds. I don't care how hot you might be. No fucking way.
All right, then.
Wouldn't it be great if like she talked to him like that? He's going down on her.
I know. That would be. I don't know
You
how
do the
he
voice better
couldn't.
than I do. Yes. Right when he's going down on her, like she can start talking like that. You're gonna eat all this. Oh yeah, we got Drew Barrymore. She fell off the fucking wagon. There's something wrong with that bitch.
Yeah, she's got a talk show or something now, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Channing Tatum. Yep.
Okay.
I saw he was in a movie. It was called The Vow with Rachel McAdams, who I was going to marry. She was in Wedding Crashers. She was the hot chick in Wedding Crashers.
Oh yeah, yeah, she is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like they're falling in love and all this and that, and it's the grossest fucking thing. I was in the movie and I saw a guy get up and leave because it was so fucking gross. This is supposed to show like a connectivity and a closeness. He farts in the car, and he looks over and he's like all embarrassed and this and that, and then she rolls the window up like we're all gonna bask in this beauty. Like what the fuck? My goodness, dude.
Oh man.
Anyway, back to something worse than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith Morrison, 13 characters. I know for a fucking fact he's part of this.
Yeah, he had to be. So this cipher was never definitively solved. One cryptologist named Alfred Newman, who was this kind of funny. He was the mascot of the humor magazine in Mad, and he did solve it, or what seemed to make sense for the cipher, but it was never sort of confirmed or verified. In the same letter, the Zodiac denied responsibility for the fatal bombing that had taken place of a San Francisco Police Department police station.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot going on back then, right?
Yeah.
He stated that there is more glory to killing a cop than a kid because a cop can shoot back. And he also included a diagram of a bomb intended for a school bus. And at the bottom of the letter, he wrote Zodiac 10, SFPD 0.
The cops should have given all the credit to Herbert Mullins. That was a serial killer that was active during the same time as the Zodiac.
Yeah.
And all the credit. And then watch the Zodiac lose his shit, Like I said, he would totally slip up. And I would just fuck with this guy all the time. Even have Mullins come on TV and say he did all the ciphers and did all the killings.
Yeah.
And they're like, so what was the thing behind the ciphers? He goes, I was just eating Lucky Charms and I thought I'd draw these dumbass fucking little pictures.
That's a great idea. He would have lost his shit.
Yep.
Just pay him $50. Be like, just go on there and say that you did it all.
Yeah, like give him like 2 days of free time in the yard
Yeah.
in prison. He would take all the fucking credit. You know how great that'd be?
Yeah. Was he was the Golden Gate Killer?
No. He killed 13 people, just kind of random people. Yeah, he killed 13, where the Zodiac is only known to have killed 5 that we know of definitively.
Yeah, it's just so popular because of all the letters and all just like the mystery and shit. But yeah, on April 28th, he mailed a greeting card to the Chronicle and he wrote, I hope you enjoy yourselves when I have my blast. On the back of the card, the Zodiac threatened to use bus bombs, so he just kind of like talks shit about bombs, and now he's talking about like maybe doing one himself.
This is the inspiration behind the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Right?
So he said he was going to set these bombs unless 2 things happened. The Chronicle needed to write about this bomb, and people should wear some nice Zodiac buttons. The latter was likely in response to a letter the Zodiac had sent to famous journalist Paul Avery. In the letter, the Zodiac threatened to kill Avery because of an article he had written. So Paul Avery started to wear buttons that said, I am not Paul Avery. And people around the office and stuff were wearing them too, which is kind of funny. Yeah. In a letter to the Chronicle postmarked June 26 of 1970, the killer was upset that no one was wearing Zodiac buttons, and he claimed, I punished them in another way. I shot a man sitting in a parked car with a .38. This may have been a reference to the murder of San Francisco Police Department Sergeant Richard Raditic. He was shot through the window of his squad car by an unidentified man during a routine traffic stop. His murder is unsolved, but the San Francisco Police Department denies that the Zodiac is a suspect in that case.
I got it. They should have made thousands of Zodiac buttons, but have a picture of that David Toshi or Toshi.
Yeah.
All just like bare-chested, oiled up, like he just left Diddy's party with his bare dick in his hand with the Zodiac symbol on the side of his bare dick.
Yeah.
Even better, fuck the pins. Put that Zodiac dick pic on a giant billboard facing the highway and just have it like say something like, in air quotes, the Zodiac is going back to his birthplace tonight once I ram this in his skanky mother. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
On Halloween, if I was the mayor of the whole town or even the governor, I would have all the kids dress up as the Zodiac with that dumbass hood and all that.
Yeah.
Put it on all the news channels where they're walking through the streets, everybody's trick-or-treating. Well, ask 20 kids, and what are you supposed to be? And they'll all reply, the dumbest fucker in all of California. How awesome would that be?
Yeah. They should have. They probably would have caught him if they would have just fucked with him a little bit.
Fuck yes. Have them running around. Instead of saying trick or treat, they'll all say something stupid like, I can't shoot straight because I ain't straight. And tape fucking dildos on top of their guns as they're knocking on the doors.
Yeah, you used a dildo silencer just like Robert Picton, that pig fucker.
That guy was messed up.
Yeah, fucking Canadian.
Can you imagine slicing somebody up just like it's nothing?
Yeah, and then using a dildo silencer.
Oh.
That's not gonna work.
No.
It's not gonna work.
Heck no.
That's not how silencers work, dude. You can't use a dildo.
Yeah, because you have Diddy wrap his mouth around the end of it. It's like, don't kill the R&B mogul. Yes. He's got plenty more music to make.
Right.
Oh.
So additionally, a Phillips 66 roadmap of the San Francisco Bay Area was enclosed with this letter. At Mount Diablo, the Zodiac drew his famous signal, which was a circle with the cross through it, and it looks a lot like a crosshairs of a rifle. The points noted on the map were longitude and latitude coordinates, and the letter also included a 32-character cipher, which was dubbed Z32. And the Zodiac claimed that the map and cipher would reveal where he had buried a bomb. The Z32 has never been definitively decoded, and no bomb was ever located. In 1981, it was deduced that the map was divided as per the Zodiac's hints, and 3 of his attacks aligned along 1 radian, which is a unit of angle in the International System of Units, and a standard unit of angular measurement. On one arm of the radian lay the Blue Rock Springs murders. Another one had the Lake Herman Road murders, and the other arm on the radian, centered on Mount Diablo, extended to the site of Paul Stein's murder.
This guy put a lot of thought into everything.
Yeah, I don't think he was as stupid as he led, with the misspellings and different things like that.
He actually genius on his part.
It may not have been, intentional. So hundreds of solutions for this cipher have been proposed. However, it has been very hard to determine a conclusion due to how short the cipher and ciphers are. The shortness in the constant misspelling of words may have also made it very difficult to crack, which, like we said, it may have been by design, or the Zodiac was just a fucking idiot.
Yes.
So similar letters continued through 1971, at which point the Zodiac went silent for 3 years.
There's a reason for that, and we will get into that in the next episode, and I cannot wait.
Yes, absolutely.
This is my smoking gun. This is the one I think.
Yeah. So the final thing we'll say here is in January of 1974, the Chronicle received a letter from the Zodiac, and it was postmarked January 29th, 1974, and it complained that columnist Count Marco needed to feel superior to everyone and praised The Exorcist as the best satirical comedy he'd ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He also included an unusual symbol that has remained unexplained, and Zodiac concluded the letter with his new score of Zodiac 37 SFPD 0.
Back to this fucking with him. Walter Cronkite, because make this national news so everybody can see it. He should have came on the national news and just made up horrible shit about the Zodiac. Like, the Zodiac is known for 2 things. 1, he has an odd fascination with putting his dick in animals at the petting zoo. And 2, he has the IQ of a 3-year-old inbred child. Then show that clip to everybody in America, and it shows everybody in their houses laughing. What a fucking idiot. All that. Then pan back to Walter saying, if I ever get that bad, shoot me in the head. But don't miss the first shots like that dumb fucker the Zodiac did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he'd be hitting up all the radio stations and the phone. It'd be off the chart.
So this was the final letter that was received. It's sort of strange because it's kind of abrupt. There's lots of reasons why the letters may have stopped. The Zodiac may have died. He may have been incarcerated for other reasons. We're going to get into all of those potential reasons in our next episode. It's going to be a doozy.
Oh, it's going to be big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it for today, though, and we appreciate you listening. We appreciate your support. Give us a like and follow on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any questions or if you want to give us some suggestions on something you'd like to hear, send us an email at beforewegetcanceled@gmail.com, canceled with 2 L's. Be sure to like us and follow us on whatever streaming platform you use, just so that you'll be notified of new episodes when they come out.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Tell your grandparents.
Be like, hey, listen to. Tell your grandparents.
Yes.
Maybe not your grandparents.
Your local pastor. Everybody.
Yeah, priests, firefighters.
Oh, it'd be great if the Pope loved our shit.
Oh, he never would, but yes, it would be.
Oh, my goodness. He has our sticker, a logo on his little, whatever they call it, robe. That would be so sweet.
But yeah, if you listen to the show, maybe just mention it to a friend. We would really appreciate that. We appreciate you again for listening, and we will see you next time. I'm Cooper.
I'm Scott.
I'm Sarah.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.